a cold start OD, you have to have a sense of an entrepreneurial spirit, and you certainly have to have the motivation to put in the time and effort necessary to succeed. The best news is the risk of failure is actually minimal, almost non-existent. We don't see a lot of private practices that simply go out of business because they didn't make it. As long as you're doing your due diligence and choosing an optimal location, and quite frankly, as long as you're willing to put in the effort, I really think that success is the only outcome. The great thing is the financing climate is great right now. Terms are good, banks are willing to lend, and they're willing to 100% finance these projects to make it attainable for even those who are new grads. You need to make sure that you're up for the challenge. It is a challenge. It is something where you're not going to open the doors day one and be flooded with patients. It's going to take effort above and beyond simply just being there, and you have to make sure that you have that outgoing personality required to succeed in cold starting. We have a lot of practice movement taking place for those that want to start their own practices, for those that are looking to acquire practices. You know, the way that the healthcare system is moving, it's driving more patients in for medical care. I think it's just really a matter of, as long as you're willing to evolve with the profession and keep up with the changes, you're going to be successful and happy.
Corporate optometry really is just a different form of practicing. Don't give in to this perception of what it is. Look at it for yourself. The biggest pros for me was really just learning the business aspect of optometry. When you graduate school, you know how to be a doctor. You got your degree. But I didn't know what it meant to run a practice and understand what's involved in day-to-day coaching and hiring and training people. So that's been huge, to be able to learn the business aspect without having that individual overhead. I'm very much my own boss when I see my patients. I dictate my patient care, their follow-up, what I prescribe. There's nobody that says you need to fix X, Y, and Z. You know, I still have to report to somebody, but I feel like that would be the same. It is the same as when I worked with an ophthalmologist. I still was reporting to somebody, but I do have my own independence when it comes to my patient care, and I don't feel like I'm giving anybody any less care. And in fact, our technology is really good. So, you know, there's so many times over the last 6 years I've had patients comment that I wasn't expecting such a thorough exam. That's huge. You're not selling out, you're still doing what you love, and you're providing care at your comfort level, and that's regardless of whether you're in a private practice or in a brick and mortar retail chain. As long as you're happy doing what you are doing and you love it, go for it.
The biggest challenge in choosing private practice, I think, is that students feel that they can't afford to go into private practice. And they look at their student loan debt and realize that it's very difficult to take out another loan to either buy a practice or to open cold. I think it's a mental block that they need to get over to understand that it's actually a reality, that there's a lot of private practices that will pay a very good rate for you to learn kind of on the job and maybe buy into that practice. And it just takes proper research and preparation ahead of time using sites such as, New Grad Optometry to realize that there are other opportunities. Looking on CovalentCareers and saying, you know what, I really want to go into private practice. You pay a lot of money for your education, and the goal is for you to enter in a professional vocation that you want and that you desire, not to just take what is just left at the end of those 4 years. The biggest pro in private practice is flexibility. You have a tremendous amount of flexibility, whether it be professional flexibility, personal flexibility, and also financial flexibility. If I want to fit amniotic membrane contact lenses, I can do that in a private practice setting. If I want to learn scleral lenses or hybrid lenses or be able to do something specialized such as research on concussions or trauma, I can do that in private practice. There's nobody that I have to answer to. And so I think that the flexibility that it offers is unprecedented. It also allows you a built-in retirement plan. If you own your own private practice, you are building equity in yourself and equity in that practice that you can then turn around and sell to a new generation of optometrists. So start the process early. I think that if you really want to get into private practice, it can be done. You just have to be motivated.
My entrepreneurial journey started when I was in optometry school. First year I created optometrystudents.com with the help of Antonio Cirumbolo. That was acquired by the AOA a year after, and then when I graduated, we continued the journey with newgradoptometry.com, which is one of the largest online eye care publications. That led into CovalentCareers, which helps optometrists find jobs, and now we're scaling into rehab with New Grad Physical Therapy, New Grad Occupational Therapy. Eye care has never been more ripe for change. both from the changing demographics of baby boomers retiring, but also technology is really hitting an amazing stride right now. I think you're seeing a lot of ODs now, more than ever, getting into ventures that didn't really exist back in the day. I think a lot of people say, do I need funding? Can I do this myself? And I'd say bootstrap all the way. There is venture capital now, but I think a lot of times it's great to start bootstrapped and do it with your passion and focus on what you want. If sales is what you need to stay sustainable, then go after that. If you're going to sustain your business and entrepreneurial side, the idea better be good, or else you're not going to call yourself an entrepreneurial optometrist for very long. And if you're lucky enough, you have an amazing team with you who's willing to be part of that project for things beyond money, because there's usually not a lot of money in the beginning. I think getting started with entrepreneurial eye care is just as simple as saying, I've got an idea, let me do this on the weekends. Okay, let me add a day. And that idea is usually fueled by passion and by data around, a need in the market. And of course, by relationships with people who feel the same way as you. Everyone has got a unique path to take, and I, commend them for doing that, and I support them on their journey. Get your head out of the books and stop doing the same wash, rinse, repeat in your private practice or in your job over and over. Take a step away and bring something new to the profession. That's the call to action. I think people should absolutely get into it. We'll have a much more robust and fruitful profession.
I love the challenge of medical. None of my days are the same. I think that's really fun. So I think the biggest pro is being able to work with your colleagues to grow yourself in a very unique way. There's always that communication going on and being able to see and learn from other people, because I get to see what their thoughts were on something before they send it to me. And then I get to kind of invent that without necessarily stepping on their toes and co-managing with them. Ask yourself what you really, really want. Do you want something that's going to be different every day? If so, medical optometry is absolutely going to do that. Do you want something that you're really going to be able to give back to your patient's life? If so, medical optometry is going to be able to do that. Train yourself. If you can do a residency, do one, because the more patients you see, the more eyeballs you look at, the better that you're gonna feel about handling it, no matter what's in your chair.